What's up everybody on YouTube? Today I'm going to be building my first PC and I'm going to be providing a list of specs here on the screen for you. You can go ahead and check those out and let's get right into it. Alright, so this is the part of the video where I was going to do something funny like pop out from underneath the table, really random stuff, and give a whole background story of my journey to building this computer, but nobody wants to hear all that, so we're just going to go right into the building stuff.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to unbox here is the motherboard. We're using an MSI X570 Ace. Alright, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to have to do here is do a BIOS update on the motherboard, because I bought this motherboard before the Zen 3 came out. So I'm going to have to perform a update on the BIOS, which is very scary. And in order to do that, we are going to need to unbox the power supply, which it's going to be a ThermalTake Toughpower PF1 ARGB 850 watt. I know a lot of people don't like RGB, but I do, so just deal with it. But ThermalTake has got very nice quality packaging for their power supplies, and the cords come in a nice cable bag. Anyway, here is the power supply. Okay, so in order to do the BIOS update, we're gonna need to plug in our ATX power cable, which I've got right here. So let's go ahead and plug it in. Alright, so with the ATX power cable in, next we're going to be putting in the CPU cables. Alright, so those are in, and the next step is going to be to turn on the power supply. So as you can see, we have power to the motherboard. This is a nice first step. Next step is the scariest part. Alright, so I've got my drive here formatted, and it only has the BIOS file on here. So we're going to be plugging it into the flash BIOS USB port. And this is the most nervous part, because if the power goes out at all while I'm doing this, my whole motherboard is going to be toast. So now I'll click and hold the BIOS flash button. Oh. Whoa. Alright, that took me a long time to figure out. We have to wait till it stops flashing and completely shuts off. If anything happens, it's gonna ruin the whole thing. Well, there we go, guys. The BIOS has been flashed. So now we can get on to the rest of the build. Alright, so the next step in our process is going to be installing the processor, which is going to be a Ryzen 9 5900X. Let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. And there we are. Here's our CPU, and we're going to line up this gold arrow here with some sort of thing on the bracket here. Let me find it real quick. Okay, so it looks like the gold arrow here is going to line up with this circle over here on the top left, I believe. Alright. Put down the retention bracket, and the CPU is in there. Alright, so now we're going to install our RAM. We've got GSkill, beautiful gold Trident Z Royal RAM sticks. And these are going to be 400 CL15 sticks. I've got 2 by 8 gig sticks, so 16 gigs total, and that gives me a little bit of room to upgrade in the future if I need to. Alright, so for this motherboard, the RAM slots we're going to be putting our RAM into is going to be A2 and B2. Alright, now with the RAM sticks installed, we can go ahead and do our SSDs. And don't worry, I will be taking the peels off before I get it started up. So go ahead and take this off. So the RAM So the SSD we're installing here in the top slot is going to be a 1TB SK Hynix Platinum P41 SSD. And here we got it right here. For the bottom, for the second slot, we will also be installing a 2TB Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus. And here's that. Alright, so now both of our SSDs are installed, and I did take the little plastic strips off of the thermal pads, so you don't have to worry about that. So now that we have our SSDs installed, our RAM, and our CPU, I think it's time that we put it in the case. Alright guys, so the next step is we're going to be installing the motherboard, and I have all of the standoffs moved into the correct position. So next we're going to place the motherboard in. Alright, so now everything is in place, we're going to start screwing it down. Alright, so for the CPU cooler, we're going to go with a Kraken Z73. Alright, so now with our radiator installed, we're going to be putting on the LianLi SLI Infinity 120 fans. These are their brand new fans with the infinity mirrors, so I think they're going to look very nice in the case. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is apply thermal paste to the CPU. Alright, now we have our radiator and fans and our cooler plugged in, and now we're going to install the fans on the right side. Alright, so we got the front fans installed as well as the top fans and the cooler. So next is we are going to be installing the power supply. Alright, so now we've got our power supply cables in and routed, and we're just going to finish screwing in the power supply right now. Alright, so I just got my Molex cable plugged in, and now I'm plugging in the SATA cables. Alright, and that's everything plugged in. And the last thing is going to be the GPU. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. The GPU unboxing. We're using a 3080 Ti Suprim X. Nice big mouse pad with the GPU bracket. Here she is. Oh my god, it's heavy. Sheesh. Holy cow, look at that. This thing is the size of my computer. Alright, let's go get this big sucker in there. Alright. Let's go ahead and put this ginormous thing in here. Oh, actually, gotta take these off first. Otherwise, I won't be able to reach them. Alright, I've taken all the peely things off. So now we can try to put this thing in. Oh, almost forgot to unlock that. Alright, now we're just plugging in the last cable into the GPU. Alright, so now I am creating a Windows 11 file on my USB. Alright, now is the moment of truth. We are going to see if this thing boots up. We got power. Okay, looks like we got power. Hit the power button on here. Alright, so a little update here. I've been trying to boot up the computer for the past like 20 minutes, and I came back here to check, and it looks like the ATX cable unplugged. So yeah, I'm gonna go plug that in now. Alright, now that I've got the ATX cable plugged back in, let's hope it restarts this time. Or boots up, I mean. So we turn that on. Woo! Oh my god, it's beautiful! Alright. I'll do a nice case glass peel. Oh yeah. Alright, one more on the front.